Hi, class. My name is Megan, and I'll be talking about Raising the Sun. So I chose this play because I thought it was the most interesting, and I've read it a lot of times throughout high school and college, so I know this play better than other ones. So this play is set right after World War II in Chicago, and it's about a family, and they're the younger family. So we have our main character, Walter, who also we also have Lana Younger, who's Walter's mom, Benita Younger, who's Walter's sister, Ruth Younger, who is Walter's wife, and Travis Younger, who is Walter and his son. So they're living in this small two little bedroom apartment in like the ghetto part of Chicago. And there's also some other characters. So there's Joseph Asagi, who will be Benita's boyfriend in the future of the play. There's also Carl Linder, who comes into the story a little later, and Willie Harris, who also comes in a little later. So, in this play, the younger family receives a check for the unfortunate passing of Walter's father. It was it was a check worth $10,000. So, while this was really sad for the family, it was also going to help them a lot because they really needed the money. So, everyone had their own ideas for the money and where it would go. So Walter's dream was to invest it into a liquor store with his friend Willie Harris, and he thought it was going to help the family a lot, get them some money, have a good business going. But no one in the family was for that idea. They didn't like that at all. They didn't trust Willie Harris. They didn't like the idea of owning a liquor store, and all this. So Lena's dream was to have a beautiful house for her family where she could have her own garden and have plenty of room for her grandchildren and her regular children. So, in the beginning of the play, Lena talks about a plant that she has, and to me, it represented like her dream of having her own garden one day. Like she kept this plant alive and going, then that kept her dream alive and going. Benita's dream was to go to medical school so she could become a doctor. And Ruth wanted the same thing as Lena. She wanted a bigger house because she learned that she was pregnant and she wanted a bigger space for her family. So Lena decided to use the money to put a down payment on a bigger house in a white neighborhood. This was a problem because the setting is in 1950 and this didn't happen very often. There was segregation still. No one wanted the races to come together. So when their student neighbor, Mr. Linder, found out they were going to be moving in, he came over to greet them and talk to them, but they think he had good intentions at first, like he was just welcoming into their new house, but they were mistaken when he offered them money to not move in to the new houses because he thinks that it's not a good idea to be mixing the two races together, and this might freak people out that's already living in the neighborhood. This actually caught me off guard because at first Mr. Linder seemed to be a good guy. Like he seemed like he wanted them to actually, come together as one and be like neighbors, good neighbors. But he didn't want them moving there at all. He offered them lots of money to stay away, but the family declined and they reassured him that they will be moving into their new house. So after Lena decided to put a down payment on the new house, she gave the rest of the money to Walter to hold on to. She said that she wanted him to put it in savings for Benita's schooling and to have some left over for the family. He did not listen to her. He actually went on to invest in a liquor store with his friend Willie Harris, who took off with the money and was never heard from again. Now, Walter isn't sure what to do because, he thought that he could trust Willie Harris, even though, despite what his family thought, so he thought the only option he had was to give in to Mr. Linder and accept the money from him because he thought of his family, which is ironic to me because he all of a sudden cared about what his family's position was now because they were completely broke, they had no money, and I don't know what he think about before he invested in a liquor store. I think he was so set on getting more money that he didn't think about how it would affect his whole family. So he told Lena that he was thinking about accepting the money from Mr. Linder, and she did not like the idea of Walter giving it to Mr. Linder. She thought it made him kind of a coward and didn't have any pride at all for standing up to this man who thought they wouldn't be able to fit into this new neighborhood. So, in my opinion, I think that Lena is the strongest character and the most wise because she always knew exactly what to say and do to like make her family feel better and make them feel like they are supposed to be on this earth and not just like some poor broke family. So if we fast forward a little to the end of the play, and Mr. Linder approaches Walter again, but this time Walter stands his ground and he sides with his family in the long run, and he made a choice to turn down the money and live in this beautiful new house with his family and his new baby on the way. So for me, the most obvious character development was Walter. From the beginning, we see him as this grumpy, hard to get along with, kind of mad all the time guy. You know, he was a chauffeur for this rich white man, very jealous of his lifestyle. He wanted that, you know, he wanted the luxury of having someone to be able to chauffeur him around. So he was always causing arguments with him, between him and Benita. He always said hurtful, mean things to Ruth and even to his own mom. He was really unhappy with his life, but when he found out they were getting $10,000, he was the happiest he's been in a while. But that didn't last very long when his mother told him it was going to be used to put down a payment on a house and his sister's schooling. His dreams were quickly shot down. So he was just a little angry at the moment. He stayed pretty much angry though throughout the whole play until he got a hold of the rest of the money. And despite being told to put it away for savings, he doesn't listen to his mom and gives it to Willie Harris. And now the family was broke and he doesn't know what to do because he doesn't have any money for his family. And he was even gonna just, give in to Mr. Linder, suck the money, and stay where they're at. But in the end, Walter rises above his pride and sticks with his family, which was a pretty big deal, in my opinion, because throughout the play, it just kind of seems like he didn't really care that much about, I wouldn't say his family, but he really wanted money versus happiness, but I think the whole family was really happy with the decision to move to a bigger house with more space and a better neighborhood for the kids to like play in. So I think he had the biggest character development throughout the play.